There are people that believe that pornography is in fact a weapon. And if you ever get a chance to watch some of the videos of E. Michael Jones when he speaks about libido dominandi, it was a tool used to soften a society by making the men weak and docile so that they could be easily manipulated and controlled. And he tells stories about how pornography was weaponized during certain wars. And he talks about, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and how, well, once the Israelis took over the TV stations in Palestine, the very first thing that they did was they shut down all the TV stations, put one station on so they could only watch one thing, and just flooded it with 24 hours a day of pornography. And it wasn't because they were trying to help the guys out and make them feel good about being at home. In fact, in part of it, it's so funny because a part of that, it was a war. So people were staying indoors. So you're forced to stay indoors and you're forced to watch a TV that has only one channel, which is pornography. And they knew what they were doing. It seems almost as if that same exact thing had happened during 2020. Because from what I remember, during the COVID lockdowns, Pornhub had skyrocketed in its in the visitors to its site, and it started doing all sorts of freebie deals and stuff like that because they knew that all these men were going to be locked in their homes, and they could weaponize this pornography to just make them weaker and more docile and more easily controllable.
100%, man. That's exactly what happened, right? So, we told to lock down, and then I think within the first couple of days, it was like Pornhub free, free premium porn for everybody while you're isolated and locked up. Just consume all the, all the free stuff that you could possibly want. It's interesting because when you look at society, you look at the world, man, and it's just, you see the transgenderism, you see the drag queen story time, you see the minor attracted persons, AKA
you mean pedos?
Pedophilia. I should go put my pedophile hunter hat on. When we think about what all this is doing, is this is just conditioning in a society that all of these terms and topics and consumption of all this is just going to be okay. The number one search term in pornography is teen. There's a direct correlation between that and then the minor attracted or the acceptance of pedophilia. It's all we're just trying to condition just to make it accepted and make this become the new normal. Now, whatever the bigger agenda is, that's kind of probably outside of my area of expertise, but no, we've seen it, and once again, it's just given me more fuel to plant our flag even deeper and continue to have these conversations.
In one of his documentaries or interviews, he talks about how this is the whole porn culture has sort of been slowly infiltrating our culture for probably since the end of the 1950s, and that we've been looking at increasingly harder porn that starts soft, right? So I think about watching Beverly Hills 90210 when I was a kid, right? In the 1990s. And, if there are reruns or something like that, you can go back and watch them. It was almost very innocent, soft, sort of, what's the word? It starts with an I, innuendo, sort of sexual teasing. But now, during the halftime shows at the NFL, we have literal nakedness and pornography, and we've got Lil Nas X giving blowjobs to Satan. It's been a slippery slope. It's been a slippery slope since the 1990s.